Hey there, it's Robert C. Baker with Zach Taylor Chattanooga and Move to Chattanooga, your go-to real estate expert for everything happening here in the Scenic City. This video is a deep dive into the greater Chattanooga housing market, where it's been, where it is now, and where we think it's headed in the coming months. Let's get into it. Let's start by looking at all residential activity across the Chattanooga Multiple Listing Service, or MLS. This includes single-family homes, duplexes, apartments, townhomes, and condos. We'll look at our greater Chattanooga new listings, pendings, and closed sales chart first. Notice how each year we follow a similar pattern. Around January of each year, we see seasonal market activity come into play with new listings, pendings, and closed sales rising. All three peak around the month of June, followed by another brief blip upward in August. Then the market simmers down a bit in the fall and winter, only to begin the seasonal arc the next year. This chart shows that all three metrics have been rising since 2023. However, we see somewhat of a unique situation in 2025. New listings, for example, jumped in January and have been following the seasonal upward thrust, but have almost flatlined in April and May of 2025. Now, we don't have enough data to predict what will happen in the coming month for new listings. For example, we may see growing seller confidence should interest rates fall and sellers believe that they will find buyers for their properties. Currently, however, we don't have any indication that mortgage interest rates will fall anytime soon. As I've mentioned in previous videos, the greater Chattanooga area real estate market is highly interest rate sensitive, as most buyers finance their purchases. In May 2025, new listings are coming in at just over $1,400 per month. Now, pendings, which are homes that are under contract with contingencies removed, have been a bit shakier. In fact, I might go so far as to say that the market is slowing down. Typically, we see a peak in March or April, followed by a soft decline over the next couple of months. March 2025 pendings outstripped the previous year by almost 100 units, but instead of rising in April as pendings did in 2024, we've seen pendings fall. In fact, May 2025 pendings are slightly less than the previous year. I think that we are seeing here some buyer hesitancy. Maybe it's high interest rates, economic uncertainty, or just waiting for better opportunities. And if we dig a little deeper, we also learned that expired listings and listing cancellations by sellers are rising, which indicates that sellers are also becoming hesitant to keep their homes on the market. Perhaps sellers are expressing their concern about finding a buyer as their properties sit longer on the market, sometimes with very few showings and no offers. Closed sales follow pendings about a month. In 2025, April closed sales were lower by 50 units compared with April 2024. And May 2025 closed sales were down 111 units compared to the same month last year. Looking at the first half of June 2025, which isn't yet on the chart, closed sales for those 2 weeks are the lowest they've been in 11 years. And taking the average of the previous 10 years of data, we can predict with some degree of confidence that when the final numbers come in, we may see anywhere between 870 to 900 closed sales for June 2025. And to be honest, 900 is optimistic. Anecdotally, I can share with you that I've talked to a number of local agents, and there seems to be a general consensus of a slowdown with fewer offers, longer days on the market, and in some instances very few or no showings on certain properties. Next, I want to show you a comparison of greater Chattanooga closed sales and reintroduce you to what I call the Chattanooga Metro Plus. Recall that on my charts, the greater Chattanooga figures include all residential information on the MLS. The Chattanooga Metro Plus data only includes residential single-family data within the Chattanooga Metropolitan Statistical Area, 3 counties in southeastern Tennessee, to which I add Bradley County, and 3 counties in northwest Georgia. Note how this chart brings into sharper relief the lower number of closed sales for Chattanooga Metro Plus, the red line. In May of 2023, there were 754 closings. In the following year, 839, and in May 2025, there were 720 closings. Historically, May shows the highest number of closings in our local market for the year. The trend line, at least based on this data, is downward. That said, the whole thing could improve if there were a reduction, say by 1%, in mortgage interest rates. Big picture, the market is quickly transitioning from being a seller's market to being a neutral market and eventually a buyer's market, one that favors buyers. I suspect that we may be in a full-blown buyer's market latest by the middle of 2026. And we're going to see current market reality quickly catch up to sellers and their agents who have become perhaps too used to listing homes for sale at prices buyers today are unwilling to pay. Next up, let's take a closer look at the Chattanooga Metro Plus Plus area, which gives us a zoomed-in view of single-family homes in the 7 counties I mentioned previously. The median sales price, represented by the blue line, was $350,000 in May. In fact, the median seems tethered to $350,000, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, but it hasn't made any meaningful increase since May of 2024, an entire year. Now that could indicate any number of things, but in the main, and although it's susceptible to fluctuations, especially if there are a larger number of closed sales either at the lower or top end of the range, prices in the Chattanooga Metro Plus are stable, and that's a good thing. What we don't want to see is the median starting to trend downward, which indicates a potential loss of value, a loss of homeowner equity. There are some areas of the country that are experiencing just that, particularly in areas that are bursting with inventory, such as Florida and Texas, where some areas are seeing not only median prices go down, but also steep cuts to listing prices. And that trend seems to be spreading, at least nationally, and you should know that. Note too that since March 2025, average sales price, the red line, is trending higher. We typically see a peak in the average sales price in May or June each year, followed by another peak in October. Now, while it's possible that we haven't reached our peak for the year, it's more likely the case that we have, and I suspect that June's average sales price will be lower than May's for this year, which was $427,861. And as I mentioned in a previous video, I believe that in our current market, given our high interest rate situation, buyers are especially price conscious. Looking at their bottom line, the amount that they'll have to pay every month for their loan, they're actually buying at the top end, trying to get the most for their money. And this may account for the higher average sales price. And like the average sales price, the average price per square foot, the green line has steadily risen since 2023, as indicated by the graph. All things remaining the same, we're likely to see the average price per square foot increase and have its peak in October of 2025 as well. To summarize, the greater Chattanooga area, and especially the Chattanooga Metro Plus market, does not show at the current time any doomsday scenario. But the market, especially prices, could soften. Let's break down the Chattanooga Metro Plus by price segment because each part of the market is behaving differently, and that matters whether you're buying, selling, or investing. And here's where I'm going to stick my head out just a little bit, and I'll do that by offering a prediction on what we may see in the coming months. We first look at single-family homes under $300,000. This is the entry-level segment, and it shows stability. This segment is driven by affordability and local demand. It's where first-time buyers, investors, and downsizers are shopping. The median sales price, the blue line, continues to show growth despite a slight dip in May 2025. In 2023, the median was $220,000, 2024, $229,000, and in 2025, $230,000. Both the average sales price and average price per square foot are up in May 2025 compared to the previous 2 years. I do need to mention that we're seeing fewer sales in this segment year over year, perhaps due to homes being priced in the following segment. For example, in January through May of 2023, we saw 1,487 sales, followed by 1,371 in 2024, and in 2025, 1,156 sales. Back to prices, I suspect in 2026 we'll see the upward trend continue, although with all 3 data points rising. Some homes priced at the top of the segment will move upwards in the $300,000 to slightly under $500,000 segment, which we'll discuss next. This next chart is for homes priced between $300,000 and just under $500,000 and includes a number of new construction homes within this price range. As we saw in the previous price segment, we see stability in this price range. $378,890 is the median for this segment in May 2025, which is down slightly from the previous year's $385,000 and $380,000 in 2023. Not too big of a difference, but the stability's there. The average sales price follows a similar trajectory, while the average price per square foot continues an upward thrust. Now, what can account for the median and average sales prices remaining relatively stable while the average price per square foot continues rising? Several things. For example, what we may be seeing is buyers looking for smaller homes within the price range, or they're buying new construction homes or ones that have had significant upgrades, or they're looking for higher demand neighborhoods, which likewise points to new construction where there's additional amenities like a pool or a clubhouse. Any and all of those things could factor into higher price per square foot. I also want to mention that we see stability in the number of sales for this price segment. For example, from January through May 2023, there were 1,200 2,233 sales, 1,329 the next year, and 1,236 for the same time period in 2025. My prediction for this market segment will continue to see sustainability, which will only be solidified were interest rates to fall by about 1%. I've recently revised my price segmentation, so now let's turn to the $500,000 to just under $1 million price range. This is a new chart. These are often homes in desirable neighborhoods: Eagle Creek in Bradley County, Edgestone, Bainbridge Park, Heritage Walk in Black Creek in Hamilton County, and Windstone in Callaway Place in Catoosa County. These homes have upgrades, community living, and curb appeal. We see similar features as we did previously. Over the past 2.5 years, we see a rising median and average sales price, nothing dramatic. We also see a higher price per square foot, indicating, as we saw before, that buyers in this range are looking for something extra: better amenities, higher grade finishes, and community living. Sales in this segment, however, have fallen, with May 2023 at $587, 2024 at $555, and May 2025 at $485. Looking into the future, we might see buyers in this price segment become more cautious and inventory grow, which could dampen prices. And now we come to what I call the Great Spaghetti Monster: luxury homes priced $1 million and up. Now, $1 million certainly buys more in the greater Chattanooga area than, say, certain areas of Tennessee, Williamson County, and especially Brentwood, or Sandy Springs or Alpharetta in Georgia. But keep in mind that this price segment represents a very small part of the market, especially if we look at the Chattanooga Metro Plus market, those 7 counties I talked about. In fact, of the current listings, the middle of June 2025, $1 million homes represent only 6.3% of all homes listed for sale. The median sales price, the blue line, continues an upward trajectory from January 2023 to May 2025. The average sales price and price per square foot vary widely based on sales on a month-to-month basis. That said, what's interesting to note that as the $1 million and up segment, perhaps attracting interest of upwardly mobile professionals and out-of-state buyers such as retirees, shows continued strength. The greater Chattanooga area is a beacon for professional folks due to our career or the desire to start a business. These buyers are attracted not only to our outdoor lifestyle, but lower cost of living, and they certainly do not want to pay state income taxes. I've had numerous clients from California, Illinois, Michigan, New York, Florida, and Texas move here for those and many other reasons. That said, January to May sales for this price segment were 77 in 2023, 96 the next year, and 97 in 2025, showing resiliency despite the ups and downs of the chart. And in the near future, I expect this trend to continue. So, what should buyers and sellers do now? If you're a buyer, more inventory on the market means more choices and fewer bidding wars. You may have negotiating room, especially at higher price points. Focus on value. Don't wait for the perfect deal. Good homes still move fast. And if you're a seller, price your home right from the start. It is irrelevant what homes in your neighborhood sold for in 2022 and 2023. Those are not today's comps. Prep and stage to stand out. Buyers have more to choose from. If you list your home for sale needing repairs, even if it's only a fresh coat of paint in the interior, you're bound to get lowball offers or offers by investors who are looking to make a buck. Be realistic. The days of 10 offers in a weekend are fading, but you can still get a great outcome with the right strategy. Expect longer delays on the market, fewer offers, and buyers wanting to make a deal. Whether you're buying your first home, selling your dream home, or moving to Chattanooga from across the country, I'm here to help you do it the right way. Want to know what your home is worth in today's market? Thinking about moving? Want local insight on communities that offer amenities you're looking for? Let's connect. Call or text me anytime at 423-820-3663 or visit movetochattanooga.com. Interested in learning more about Chattanooga? Watch this video next.